Important day for sugar as the sector is expecting SOPs that will give a facelift to the challenges that many of the sugar companies and sugar mills are facing currently, actually have been for the past many years. Vivek Saraogi, who's MD Balrampur Chini, joins in to give more perspective on where the sugar space is placed in the cycle. Mr. Saraogi, it's great to have you on the show. Thanks very much for taking out the time. First up, really, how do you qualify the ethanol opportunity for Indian sugar companies, even if we go the Brazil way and hike the mixing proportion? How much can that open the window of revenues for sugar mills?
Good morning. I think that's a great opportunity, especially with the correct recognition in prices for B heavy. See, if you see this year, the government has put the price of B heavy at 52.5, around 52.5, and that recognizes the cost of production of the sugar which is sacrificed into the B heavy. So I think if this policy continues, what you just said, there will be a great opportunity which will open up both in terms of revenue and a natural hedge against excess production for a period of time.
Can the glut in India get adjusted more meaningfully if the government allows higher ethanol mixing?
Yes. So you see, there are two things. One, the percentage I think needs to move up from next year. And secondly, the ethanol pricing of B heavy needs to be correctly recognized as done in this year. These two things being in place, I think a lot of the excess, probably 15 lakh tons could be a wild guess, 15 lakh tons or 1.5 million tons in the next year could easily be diverted. Right. If not more, 1.5, yeah.
Yeah. Vivek, also wanted to understand how will the realizations then improve for the sector, and what are your current realizations at the company?
You're talking about all three products separately?
Yes.
Sugar, molasses,
yes.
Sugar, power and ethanol?
No, I'm just talking about sugar and ethanol.
See for the quarter, okay, if we see for the quarter, our realization has been 3221 for the quarter, and for ethanol, because it's the old contract, it's 40.72, power 4.82.
Is the current inventory when it comes to sugar that the industry is sitting on, and how much is your own company sitting on currently?
Okay, as on the end of the previous quarter, our sugar stock is 29.92 lakh bags, valued at 3110, and I think the country's inventory would be closer to 10 million or 9.5.
You know, we broadly spoke about the policy clearance that may come by on ethanol mixing, Mr. Saraogi, but my colleague Parisha Tyagi has, gotten in some more details on what the policy statement would hold for the industry. The Food Ministry has and this is her story that I'm reading out to you, that the Food Ministry has floated a proposal of interest subvention of 6% on loans worth 7,400 crores for mills producing ethanol, and this will be in addition to the sugar package approved in June, which promised loan benefits to about 114 ethanol producing mills and distilleries. My question to you is specifically to your business, what kind of benefits do you believe would accrue?
Hello.
Mr. Saraogi, can you hear me? No, okay, so we'll connect with him in just a moment. I'll just request my producer to go back to him in just a moment, because that's an important question. We need to understand from the management what kind of interest subvention would they enjoy once the sugar package actually comes through. In fact, this is what Parisha Tyagi, my colleague, broke yesterday about the sugar package seeing the light of day today. And this is the second one, mind you, in addition to the one being approved in June. So let's hear her out.
The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs is likely to take up the issue of loan relief for sugar sector as the Food Ministry passed a proposal wherein it recommended providing an interest subvention of nearly 6% on loans up to 7,400 crore rupees to sugar mills interested in enhancing their ethanol production capacity. This will be an extension of the package announced by the government in June, under which a similar loan relief was provided to nearly 114 mills. However, after that first package, more mills had demanded benefits on loans which they required for setting up new ethanol distilleries or even enhancing the capacity in the existing ones. This decision, this approval, if it is done today, will come at a time when India is struggling with the problem of huge oil import, and the government is looking at ways to reduce the oil import bill, and the government has been time and again saying that the only solution to India's import problem, to India's fuel problem, is a switch to the biofuel sector.
Okay, in fact, just in time, Vivek Saraogi is back with us. Vivek, if you just heard my colleague Parisha Tyagi, and she's picking up from her exclusive sources that perhaps today there is going to be another package announced for sugar, there would be a 6% interest subvention on 7,400 crore rupees worth of loans. There would be SOPs for setting up ethanol distilleries as well, which is something in the works. There will be loan assistance to sugar mills to boost their capacity as well. So help us understand, if indeed a package like this does come about, how does it stand to benefit you?
Okay, just very simply put.
Sure.
Earlier, because of a certain amount of fund allocated for the interest subvention, only 114 distilleries got covered. Now they are enhancing that ambit. So they're saying how many, they probably got 268 proposals for this either enhancement of capacity or new distilleries. They're allocating fresh funds to cover the entire 268 distilleries. So this is a very, very good move again.
Okay. And what would be that amount of allocation? Could you be specific with numbers? How much boost would this give to the bottom line?
See, this is not a boost to the bottom line. It is an interest subvention. Suppose we are, for example, just to explain, we are setting up a distillery of 160 KL in one of our factories. Probably the cost ballpark could be around 200 crores. So if the borrowing, if on that is bank gives about, let's say 70%, and 140 crores is the borrowing on that, you will get an interest subvention of, let's say, 5 to 6% there. So it is a interest subvention on your bank borrowing, which is used for the capital cost of the new distillery. So it is a good move. It lowers your interest cost.
So if your interest cost is lower, that would give some more cushion for you to set aside that money for other purposes. So that was where I was coming at, that
yes,
your interest cost comes down because of this interest subvention. So what will be the savings on account of that? Like how much would the interest cost come down by?
See, there is no reflection in the profit and loss account if that is what you're looking for, because your interest is going to come at a lower cost, I mean your funds. So it is going to be over a period of time, and if we, let's say, put 5% or 6%, if we put 5% per year, it's, let's say, 7 crores. If that's another way to look at it.
How excited are you, Mr. Saraogi? Because you know that better than most people representing the industry about the pains that you've gone through cycles, right? And everybody thinks that things will start looking up, and they have. You've seen in the past there being a period where sugar prices have actually gone up. How much do you think this policy change and the SOPs from the government can really begin a new chapter in the sugar cycle for players such as yourself?
Yeah. So see, I think you've hit the nail on the head. We look forward with optimism. The reasons are basically twofold. One, the excess production this year should be exported. I think that is now seeming a reality. 5 million should easily be exported, where the government has correctly again recognized the loss on exports and has kind of fully reimbursed that loss in its scheme, which was announced, I think, a month back. The production estimates earlier, let's say they were 34, 35 million. The revised production estimate from ISMA is about 31.5. And personally, I feel, when it declines, it could decline a little more. Having said that, basically, if consumption is 260, 265 or 26.5 million, and if you add 5 million export, this year you will not add to inventory. Going at next year, probably too early, but if production definitely would come down from here, that's my personal call. And plus there would be some diversion, as I said in the beginning, based on the ethanol program. So this era of excesses which were like sort of weighing heavily down on us, I think is only now in the stock position, which I feel can easily be sold in the next year also. Just to make another point, I think globally also things are turning. One is, I read a report yesterday from some trade house which says in the next year we might move to a global deficit from a global surplus. So I think gradually, slowly, we're looking at a positive picture down the line.
And we wish you the very best, Mr. Saraogi, in that outlook of yours.
Thanks
very much for taking out the time.